At the Foundation's Forum in Burbank, California. We're continuing our coverage here. To my left, to your right, we have Mr. Blackie Lawless from W.A.S.P. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy.
How are you? And I understand that you have a fairly brand new release, The Crimson Idol.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you tell us about this particular release? You've been around for a long time now, and you've been kicking out a lot of good stuff in the past. And I understand that this is kind of taking a little turn, a little something different than what you've been doing.
Well, I get asked one question by the fans over and over, and they say, give me some advice. How do I get from where I'm at to where you're at? So I tell them the same thing over and over again. I say, you know, you really have to want this badly. And the one thing that they all say is, yeah, I want it. But they don't really understand what they're saying. And so I thought, I'm going to tell them a story and paint them a picture. And I'm going to show them the worst possible side of this business. And then once they've seen this and heard this, if they still think they want to do for it, be my guest, go for it, you know.
So actually it's kind of a public service CD, and you probably save a lot of kids from going through the hassle of wasting a lot of time with something that they really maybe don't know what they're getting themselves into.
Well, what you do for a living and what I do for a living are effectively the same things. We're reporters. You're using a slightly different medium than me, you know, but we're playing umpire. And one thing I discovered in doing what I'm doing, that as with anything in life, whether it's a plant or a tree or an animal or a human being, if it does not grow, it dies. And I had reached to a point where, well, let's just say that the same guy that wrote Blind in Texas and I Want to Be Somebody is not the guy that's standing here talking to you right now.
Right. So that's been, what, like 6 or 7 years since then? The day's gone by. So this is a brand new Blackie Lawless, a brand new W.A.S.P. Is it basically the same lineup, the same members, or has things changed in that?
Well, there's a lot of water under the bridge.
A lot of water.
You know, what it started out being and what it ended up being is two different things.
Right. So what track are you most excited about? I mean, obviously it's a complete CD, and I'm sure you're excited about all of it. But is there anything in particular that is moving right now? You know, MTV, are they giving you any support?
Well, the first video is Arena of Pleasure, which is a microcosm of the story. And this whole thing was written from a point of view of literature, point of view of satire, where nothing's really what it appears to be. So the title Arena of Pleasure is a euphemism for this fictitious city that he runs away to. It could be LA, New York, London, any place where there's a music scene. Mm-hmm. And he goes there in search of his quest. And
does he find it?
It depends on what the interpretation of finding it means, because this boy comes. See, this is not so much a story of a boy who's in search of seeking fame and fortune. This is a story about physical and mental child abuse. This boy comes from a family where he is not wanted by his parents, and he thinks that if he runs away and becomes rich and famous and returns the prodigal son, that they'll accept him with open arms. And I mean, let's face it, anybody who's honest with themselves, the one thing they want to do is turn 20, 25 years old and have their parents turn around and say, hey, I'm proud of you. Right. And not only does this boy not get that, the last thing his mother says to him is, we have no son.
So the question is, this is an autobiography, basically? I mean, it could basically fit so many of us out there that are in the music business. I myself being in the music business, and being in a band, it's definitely not an easy road to hoe, and you're constantly looking for that recognition or that acceptance that maybe you didn't get growing up or whatever. So
all entertainers are insecure. Anybody tells you that they're not, it's a liar.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You get over. Some people will get over a hump. I'm better now than I used to be. I make records for different reasons now than I used to. And I'm not saying that I still don't need it. I don't know how much I need it anymore. But when you ask the question, is it autobiographical? 10%. But people, that's the first question they ask. They say, is this autobiographical? Is it Jim Morrison? Is it Jimi Hendrix? It's all that. It's all them guys, but it's 10,000 more you never heard of.
Right.
Because this story happens a lot. I heard a story the other day. Some guy's in a local band, a singer around here, 22 years old. Couldn't get a record deal, couldn't get where he wanted. Went in the bathtub, took a pill, and a 38 blew his brains out. So it's like this happens a lot.
Yeah, it does. I think musicians out there, especially young people out there listening right now, you have to keep it in perspective and perhaps not base your entire happiness on whether or not you have a million seller or whether it's you're just famous on a local level or whatever. I mean,
one thing that's important to remember is that show business is not looking for people who want to do this. They're looking for people who must do this. Right. And there's a phenomenal difference between want and must. And 10 years ago, somebody would have told me what it was all about. I didn't give a damn. I still would have done it because I wanted it really badly. But if you have this, what I'm trying to say is if a person has the slightest inclination that they can live without it, better seek another line of employment, because you ain't gonna make it.
Get out. In other words, get out of the music business. All you young folks out there, sell your guitars, and either that or pick up the W.A.S.P, the Crimson Idol, and learn about your future and what you could be in store for. You want to go ahead and introduce your brand new video for us on Metal Masters?
Well, like I said, it's a microcosm of the album. Arena, again, is just a euphemism for something else. Nothing on this record is what it appears to be. Even the title of the Crimson Idol, everybody thinks it's the boy. It's not the boy. It's something bigger than that. This is just a microcosm of the album.
Be sure to check out The Crimson Idol by W.A.S.P on Capitol Records. This is Jeff Dyer for Metal Masters, and this is Arena of Pleasure, W.A.S.P. Check it out on Metal Masters.